I've killed a hell of a lot of people to get to this point, but I have only one more.
Kill Bill's The Bride made for an instantly iconic action hero, resplendent in her bright yellow tracksuit, wielding her deadly katana and shot through with Uma Thurman's unflinching cool.
Any more subordinates for me to kill?
Many have also lauded her as a feminist hero, but to what degree is Kill Bill's feminist reputation deserved?
Hay-colored hair, big eyes. She was a blood-spattered angel.
Revenge movies have traditionally been the province of men, and usually, women exist in these tales only to motivate those men through their suffering or death.
If you let my daughter go now, that'll be the end of it. But if you don't, I will look for you. I will find you. And I will kill you.
When Kill Bill arrived on the scene in 2003, it was celebrated for putting a badass, powerful woman at the center of the story, and showing her get the kind of satisfying, bloody revenge typically reserved for popular male-led action flicks. But if you look closer, the film still traffics in some of the more exploitative aspects of the revenge genre, like the convention that a story about a woman seeking revenge must revolve around her being traumatized and assaulted.
Mad dog, she'd a goddamn good-looking gal like that in the head.
Here's our take on how Kill Bill both defies and perpetuates female revenge tropes, and why The Bride is still such a force to be reckoned with.
It's mercy, compassion, and forgiveness I lack, not rationality.
You're watching The Take. Let us know your take.
This video is brought to you by CuriosityStream, the easiest way to access thousands of award-winning documentaries on any device, anytime, anywhere. Right now, they're offering a special deal to our viewers. Enter the promo code THETAKE for 25% off an annual membership. That's only $14.99 for the whole year.
That woman deserved better.
It's easy to see why Kill Bill was celebrated as a feminist movie upon its release. Not only does it feature a strong woman who triumphs over her patriarchal abuser, it finds her facing off against several formidable women, from the sadistic schoolgirl Gogo Yubari to o-ren to her fellow deadly vipers, Bernita Green and Elle Driver. Dynamic, memorable characters who match the bride in skill and determination. Kill Bill also doesn't explicitly sexualize the bride.
I'm better than Annie Oakley, and I got you right in my sight.
So, in this sense, the bride is freed from the most insidious aspect of the male gaze, which so often undermines a strong female character's agency and power by objectifying her. The film arguably even portrays the bride fighting back against the male gaze. As the Hopkins Cinema blog observes, at times the film seems to explicitly oppress the bride with the camera, especially early on in the film. She's, quote, often confined to the pressuring rectangle of the frame, truncated and expressed as parts of her body. But the blog writes that the bride retains control of the camera and restores her agency in many of the impressive kung fu sequences, adding that in many sequences she is empowered by the shot. Still, it's worth noting that even the bride story isn't totally her own. After all, that's not her name in the title.
I couldn't believe it. You got him to make his sword.
I just dropped your name, Bill.
That'd do it.
As her lover, her father figure, and her would-be killer, Bill's shadow looms large over the bride long before we actually meet him.
Bill always said you were one of the best ladies he ever saw with an edged weapon.
Bill's also given a mythic sense of honor.
I'm a murdering bastard, you know that? And there are consequences to breaking the heart of a murdering bastard.
He stops Elle from killing the bride while she lies in her hospital bed.
But one thing we won't do is sneak into her room in the night like a filthy rat.
The bride is immensely powerful, but Bill seems downright omnipotent. A sage cowboy sensei who seems unfathomably deep compared to the relatively underdeveloped bride.
I'm looking at the most beautiful bride these old eyes have ever seen.
Even in her final victory, the bride finds herself very much under Bill's power.
You're a terrific person. You're my favorite person.
Bill isn't the only man that the bride must be subservient to.
He hates Caucasians, despises Americans, and has nothing but contempt for women.
Enduring her trainer Pai Mei's cruel torment is the price the bride is expected to pay in order to become powerful herself. The idea that for the bride to become powerful, she must voluntarily suffer the abuse of these powerful men took on a darker subtext after Uma Thurman revealed how she herself was treated during filming. In 2018, the actress told the New York Times how Tarantino forced her to drive a stunt car that resulted in a serious crash, one that left Thurman with permanent injuries and nearly killed her. She also revealed how it was Tarantino himself who spat in her face in one scene and choked her with a chain in another, much like he'd later strangled Diane Kruger for Inglourious Basterds. Tarantino has called the crash one of the biggest regrets of his life and defended the spitting and choking scenes as wanting to take personal responsibility for them, adding that he did it with Thurman's consent. Still, it definitely feels different to watch the film now, knowing what she went through to make it. Meanwhile, Tarantino's treatment of Thurman has attracted more retrospective criticism in light of his long history of putting his women characters through violence, one that's only grown more and more extreme. All of this has led some to question whether Kill Bill's reputation as a feminist movie is totally deserved. In a series of tweets made shortly after Thurman's revelations, the actress Jessica Chastain asked, "How many images of women in media do we celebrate that showcase abuse? When did this become normalized entertainment? It is not empowering to be beaten and raped, yet so many films make it their phoenix moment for women. We don't need abuse in order to be powerful. We already are." This decades-old problem remains surprisingly common across our storytelling, where rape and physical abuse are still used as a motivator.
Without Littlefinger and Ramsay and the rest, I would have stayed a little bird all my life.
I am every little girl you ever watched, touched, hurt, screwed, killed.
From one of Kill Bill's inspirations, Lady Snowblood,
よく見てごらん、私の顔。お前たちがなぶり者にしたその女に。
to 70s grindhouse films like I Spit on Your Grave and The Last House on the Left, to even more modern iterations like Revenge, the female revenge movie has almost always been driven by sexual assault.
You already did that. I didn't enjoy it much. Now it's my turn. You.
Kill Bill suffers from this as well. We learn early on that the bride has been taken advantage of while she lies in a coma, with a hospital worker selling her body to random men.
My name is Bucks, and I'm here to
And while the film dispenses with its literal rape revenge tale in its opening act,
It's Buck. Right? And you came here to right?
there's a more figurative one that plays out over the main story. Bill has robbed the bride of her body and herself, and the film is about her painstaking quest to take it back.
Wiggle your big toe.
Her quest isn't just about taking her revenge, it's about restoring her true self, a warrior of consummate skill and strength.
金髪の戦士よ、行きなさい。
It's the journey of someone who has been made to feel powerless, vying to regain the respect she was denied.
さっきはバカにして悪かったね。わかった。
Kill Bill repeatedly makes a symbolic link between sex and violence.
でも逆に刺されちゃったみたい。
The more Freudian viewer might even see the swords that its characters lust over as distinctly phallic objects, representing the power that the bride must reclaim and turn against her attackers.
日本刀が必要で。
But sexualizing the bride's revenge feels strangely gratuitous, as does adding a literal rape to a story about a woman who was already gunned down and left for dead on her wedding day.
Actually, Bill's last bullet put me in a coma. A coma I was to lie in for 4 years.
This emphasis on sexual violence not only links Kill Bill to those exploitative grindhouse features it's meant to be updating and subverting, it makes this female revenge story, once again, all about the men.
How did you find me?
I'm the man.
The bride doesn't even get her own real name until the second film.
You will be standing at the final resting place of Beatrix Kiddo.
This is in part because, like Lady Snowblood, one of Tarantino's direct inspirations, most explicitly channeled in the tranquil moonlit duel between O-Ren and the bride, Kill Bill operates in a mythic, heightened reality. Both films treat the bride and Lady Snowblood more like symbols than real people.
何故だ。
恨み。
Still, the moniker, the bride, effectively defines this character almost entirely by the attack she experienced on her wedding day, at least until she gradually takes her identity back. Despite the movie's flaws and disturbing history behind the scenes, though, some have asserted that Kill Bill's true feminist legacy has less to do with Tarantino and everything to do with Thurman herself.
But once that strip turned blue, I could no longer do any of those things because I was going to be a mother.
There is also the bride's lasting power as a symbol. As Thurman said in 2017, women would come up to me and they would say that that film helped them in their lives. Whether they were feeling oppressed or struggling or had a bad boyfriend or felt badly about themselves, that film released in them some survival energy that was helpful, and that is probably one of the most gratifying things that I have ever experienced in response to a piece of art. Among the people who covered up Thurman's Kill Bill injuries was producer Harvey Weinstein, whose name has since become synonymous with the abuse women face at the hands of powerful men. It's a sort of poetic justice, then, that pop culture has taken its own revenge on men like Weinstein with a new rash of Me Too-era female revenge stories.
Oh, no, you don't. Nah, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it.
Movies like Emerald Fennell's Promising Young Woman and Natalia Lette's MFA may offer some of the same cathartic female vigilante kicks as Kill Bill and the many rape revenge films that inspired it, but they also grapple with thornier realities.
It's every guy's worst nightmare getting accused like that.
Can you guess what every woman's worst nightmare is?
Like the impossibility of finding justice within a society that's designed to doubt victims and protect abusers.
Or guys could just stop drugging and raping girls so we don't need color-changing nail polish.
Notably, these are narratives made by women, and they avoid mythic simplicity to deal with real-world moral ambiguities and the evils perpetrated by recognizably human men.
And every week, a nice guy comes over to see if I'm okay.
You okay?
Still, there's no denying these modern women vigilantes owe a considerable debt to the bride, who remains one of cinema's most iconic characters.
And every time you don't give me answers, I'm gonna cut something off.
Her legacy is such that Tarantino has said he hopes to revive her for another sequel, likely for a story where the daughter of the murdered Vernita Green seeks her own revenge against the bride.
If you still feel raw about it, I'll be waiting.
If so, it promises to add a new twist to the female revenge movie, one with the potential to break completely from the genre's ugly past, and to follow the future path the bride carved out.
I roared, and I rampaged, and I got bloody satisfaction.
If you're new here, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified about all of our new videos. This video is brought to you by CuriosityStream, a streaming service that offers thousands of original and exclusive documentaries. Featuring over 35 collections of curated programs that are handpicked by experts, CuriosityStream also has incredible nonfiction TV shows and docs on everything from history, nature, science, food, technology, and travel. One documentary that you can check out right now on CuriosityStream is Scanning the Pyramids. This immersive film will transport you to Egypt, where you'll explore the Great Pyramid of Giza and investigate the legends of the hidden chambers inside. Right now, CuriosityStream is offering our viewers 25% off annual memberships. Just click on the link in our description below, curiositystream.com/thetake, and use the promo code THETAKE to sign up and receive an entire year of CuriosityStream for just $14.99.